Good morning and welcome to Virginia Union University's Faculty Spotlight. I'm your host, Linda Jackson, and you are in for a treat. We have one of our very own professors here with us today, and we have a lot to unpack. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And thank you again for joining us today. Our Faculty Spotlight today is our very own professor, Sharonda Ragland. Many of you already know her, and she's just a busy beaver. She's all over campus doing just many things. She's currently, though, our interim assistant dean of the School of Arts and Sciences in our undergraduate studies program. And she works, as she said, with 8 outstanding, she's going to tell us what that actually means, department chairs and various college activities involving recruitment, education, and retention. The 3 very important things for our campus. She currently serves in several campus roles. Just to name a few, she is Vice Chair of Academic Standards Committee, Secretary of the Academic Review Committee, and at-large Senator of the Faculty Senate. She is also serves as the University Co-Head Marshal. She's done that in her past, and she's also been the University Faculty Marshal. She's co-chair of Assessment Committee, Math Club Advisor, and chair of the Mathematics Department. Professor Ragland has over 26 years of teaching experience in higher education in the field of mathematics. And I told her I was very intimidated by that. Just the word mathematics at that level is very intimidating for me. She earned an educational specialist degree from Regent University, a Master of Science in Applied and Computational Mathematics, and a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a minor in accounting from ODU. She is a doctor in training. Yes, she is working to pursue her doctorate in education with a concentration in higher education from Regent University. She has a current research interest in student success at HBCUs, seeing students finish what they started. A very important ingredient about Professor Doctor in Training Ragland is that she contributes her accomplishments and successes to her Lord, Jesus Christ, who works in her and through the support of not just her, but her family, her pastors, friends, and colleagues. So welcome, Professor in Training Ragland. We are so excited that you joined us here today. We have a lot to unpack. And as we talked about in the green room, this is the fastest 30 minutes you'll have this week. And so without any further ado, let's get started. So, Professor, Doctor in Training, Ragland, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your academic training and field of expertise.
Well, good morning, Dr. Jackson and everyone else who's watching. I'm Sharonda Ragland. I originally from South Boston, Virginia, first time generation student. And I went to ODU. I guess I didn't know, I kind of knew what I wanted to major in, but I thought business was the route, because I guess at that time it's all about money. However, even when I finished my undergraduate degree, I recognized, my calling, which was to teach. So God had led me, to the department chair of the mathematics, Dr. Sweatis. I remember it like it was yesterday, and it's been many, many years ago. And I, let him know that I want to get a master's in mathematics. And he literally told me a list of classes that he expected me to complete in order to be accepted into the master's program. Well, I did it. He didn't expect it. He even told me when I came back, that I didn't expect you to do this, And so by the grace of God, I did it. I was accepted into the program. And in the program, I am the, very few African Americans mathematics that you see. And so in fact, a female. So it was probably maybe like two of us. One was ahead of me. And she is still a mentor to me today. Okay, Dr. Kim Ward. She's still a mentor to me today. However, it was a rough, a rough ride. So it's like Dr. Carl Jackson said, seeing it through. Seeing it through. I had struggles, but by the grace of God, again, I was able to get my master's degree in applied and computational mathematics. And of course, I didn't want to quit. I wanted to quit. And the reason why I wanted to quit is because I didn't feel like I, belong. I didn't feel like I belonged. And going to professor, I didn't feel like I belonged. And one night, after wanting to quit, the Lord spoke to me and said, "You're more than this, and you're able to do it." And because of that, I, had that grit, that determination to show that I did belong, and so I did. I succeeded in the program. Took the comprehensive examinations in order to get my master's. So by the grace of God, I did that. And I've been in the teaching field for over 26 years, and in mathematics. And so I love it. I feel it's a calling from God to teach others mathematics, especially those who struggle in mathematics. So that's a little bit.
Wow. I still get a little shaky when you say mathematics because it is the challenge for many. And I think you said it. It all starts with who's a good teacher. Who's been your good teacher from day one straight through, makes it enjoyable, interesting, and still challenging. Thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit more, we want to dig a little bit deeper with you this morning. We know just very recently you wore another hat on campus, and that was the hat of interim dean, not the interim assistant dean, but the interim dean. Can what was that experience like for you, as well as a professor in arts and sciences? Well, we want to hear about your experiences at that interim dean when that baton was passed over to you.
First, I want to thank Dr. Ritter, okay, who is the dean. He, I thank him, even for becoming the assistant dean, he has been an inspiration. He is an encourager, and he sees things in people. And so I just thank him for, being, seeing confidence in me to lead in his absence. It was, I was nervous, but excited at the same time, and it was a great experience. Lots of meetings to go to, but it was very, very educational. I learned a lot. And even being in the executive leadership councils, I mean, it was awesome, being in there with the other deans, Dean Davis and Dean Gaithers White, Birkin, Dr. Green, I don't want to miss anybody, but it was, a joy, to be in the room with Dr. Lucas and Dr. Carter, to learn under their leadership. So, and working, and let me just say, again, I couldn't have done, the leadership part without the outstanding chairs, okay, of the School of Arts and Sciences, because they're awesome, and I even told them, I can't do this without you, and so they were very, very supportive, while we try to hold things down for Dean Ritter.
So you have just validated that it does take a village. and a village was working with you. And that's what we have here at Virginia Union. We have village. We have villages actually sometimes. So what about your experience as a professor in arts and sciences? So now you're putting that hat on. You're actually now in the classroom. What's that like for you? What's that experience like?
Oh, I love working with the students. In the virtual world, it's kind of challenging for the students, this time. But however, they are stepping up, to the challenges. And I've always encouraged them to ask questions, to come in for tutoring, which some of them do take advantage of. Right now, I'm doing the pre-calculus with Trig, which is it's fun. So, and they kind of look at me like, okay, what do you, so, but it's very rewarding, and I don't consider myself as like I'm the professor, but however, I'm a co-learner as well. I'm doing the Math 481 class with my juniors and seniors. I have students in there who are doing like the independent study. And in that class, we're incorporating research and internship. So as the internship portion of it, the internal part, I have tasked them to be mentors, okay, mentors slash tutors for students in the pre-calculus or the algebra class, so that students don't feel lost. During the pandemic, there is students kind of pull away, and you don't want to be by yourself. So I kind of, they're kind of like mentoring and checking on students, and they may not need help, but check on them. How are they doing? Do they need any help? Do they know what resources to use? So they're kind of like big sisters, because I have two female students in the mathematics who are taking the class, but they're like big sisters to other students, undergraduate students. So it is a joy. It's my calling, to teach. Okay, to teach with other people, teach people. So thanks.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That's your fans who are tuning in today. So let's look at a couple of things around that. So what in particular are you teaching now? What course
I
in particular?
so the right now mainly I deal with the pre-calculus, the algebra, and independent studies. Teaching those, and mainly the students in the pre-calculus are mainly biochemistry, physics, mathematics students that I work with. And so so that's a joy. And then the 481 are for math majors. So,
Well, believe it or not, we're halfway finished.
mhm.
Just that fast. So those of you who are viewing, and we thank you again for joining us. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to put them in the chat because I'm going to get to them near the end. And if you have a question, you can put it in the Q&A, and we're going to ask those questions at the end as well. So let's continue. I think we're going to get back to something because I saw some stirring conversations about co-learning. So I put a question mark there and a thumbtack there because I think we're going to come back to that. But let me ask you a couple more questions though, because inquiring minds want to know what attracted you to Virginia University's faculty, to come to Union to be a faculty person.
Okay, so story is I was actually Professor Malbon called me one day and she said, "Oh, you want to come teach, for Union? And put in an application." So I did such. I came to Union. I went through the hiring process, and when I joined Virginia University, it was like I was supposed to be there. You know, it was like a calling. You know, I've never worked in an HBCU, you know. Again, you know, I went to PWI, you know, for my undergraduate graduate. And I'd never been, you know, and it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be at, you know. And so I felt like it was a calling, you know, and that's where I was supposed to be at, you know, and to make a difference. And I mean, I love it. You know, I love the my colleagues. You know, I mean, I love working with people. Period. So it's been a blessing for me. You know, of course, there's challenges, but challenges make you grow. You know, and so I like the there's change. There's change and change um, to make us best in class. You know, and so that is that's exciting. And to be a part of that, and to be a part of, you know, to be encouraged to grow. You know, we are encouraged to grow and not stay stagnant. You know, and so that's a good thing. And when you are, you know, if you're not encouraged, you know, or you're in one place, you get in the comfort of being in that one place. You know, and so me being, you know, encouraged to move forward into professional development. You know, VU offers those opportunities for professional development, you know, that are applicable to your job, you know. And so I, you know, try to take advantage of all the professional developments that we have here, and even when I have time, you know, outside, you know, of VU. But I want to also, you know, piggyback, you know, on my church, my pastors, you know, my pastors, you know, they encourage us to you know, follow God's will, you know, and you know, and it's not about me. You know, my pastor always, you know, it's more than me, you know, and things go better when we work together. And then that brings me back to Dr. Lucas and a meeting, and I'm adopting his word now because the communiversity, you know, so that's my new word, you know, because it's all about coming together, you know, versus being pulled apart and being separate, you know. And so I'm just asking for, you know, guidance on how do I, you know, fit into that picture to, you know, to be a part of people coming together, you know, versus us being separate, you know, in separate departments, you know. And I like the fact that we are, you know, we are coming together. You know, when we're in a meeting, you don't just see, you know, the sciences, you don't just see the business people, you know, we're kind of coming together. You know, we have our professional fellas, you know, who are, you know, making that happen and pulling different people with different skills to help other people to grow. So that VUU is, you know, the place to be. So,
If I had to give a word for what you just shared, it's outstanding. And I love the word love, that your passion has used that word to describe just your tenacity and how you think about what you do. It's a very strong word, love. Wonderful. So I have another question, digging a little deeper into how you're thinking. What advice then do you have for those who are considering majors or minor or degree in any of the arts and science programs?
okay, so I hosted a town hall meeting, and I called it Major in Your Passion. So of course I'm biased towards mathematics. So when I have students who, you know, I say, what is your major? Mathematics. I'm excited. However, you know, allow God to instill in you what it is He wants you to do. He'll give you the passion for you to go after. You know, so you have to look at yourself, and you know, you probably know already. You know, from childhood. You know, I knew as a youth that I wanted to teach because in my neighborhood, you know, I was a teacher. You know, I would pass out paper and we would have fake assignments. However, I didn't go to college to major in mathematics. You know, I want to do business, that's where the money is. But, once I yielded to the calling, my passion is in mathematics. So I would encourage students, what is your passion? Major in your passion, minor in your passion. Money is important. Money will take care of you, but money won't carry you all the way. You want to be happy in what you major in or minor in, and you want to make yourself marketable to the workforce. So whether it is English, people need good writers. Whether you are in history, history, English, mathematics, science, biology, whatever it is, that you feel you have a calling for and that you are, know you're able to do, go for it, go for it. And then once you start, pull in, gravitate to your mentors, gravitate to the support systems that you have, because again, you cannot do it alone, and many of us, we try to do it by ourselves. And you find out that it doesn't always work, so it's two or more, even when, God's a two or more, wherever two or more are gathered in my name, so he's there. And so God will be in the midst, and, give honor and praise to him first, and he will see you through.
Well, I just put quotes around major in your passion because I'm going to use it. I love that statement. Major in your passion. So we have time for some questions. So let's see. I'm going to get started here. Lots of comments in our chat, but let's start with the questions. So how is being dean working with the provost different from being a professor working with a chair? I aspire to lead one day.
I think, as when I was chair of the math department, that gave me, some experience, being able to lead, others, and working, still working with others. So it was more than just working in the classroom and working with the professors, but now I had to kind of oversee, the professors in the classrooms. And then when having the opportunity to become the assistant dean, again, I had to be an administrative leader for the and under the leadership of Dean Ritter, of course, with the chairs of the departments. And so having, 8 wonderful, charming chairs, of 10 departments, that can be challenging, and it's very rewarding, and it's a great experience for me. And I'll tell you something else. It was a little intimidating at first, because again, it works backwards. You need to have a doctorate, in order to do this, and God, God works in mysterious ways. And he let me know that it's not the doctorate, sweetie. It's not the doctorate. It's not having a doctorate, then you're able to do it. I'm the one who gives you the wisdom. I'm the one who gives you everything that you need. That's your paper. That's the world's way. That's your paper. So it's like he's going in reverse order. He's let me know he's in charge. Yes, you're working towards this, but it's through me. I'm through you, to get to that point. So don't think that because you got the doctor and then this, I'm putting you here, in preparation here. So
we have a few more questions coming in. So I can see this is from Dr. Delbridge. Mathematics was the primary focus of my dissertation. So what steps can you provide for parents that are at home with their children struggling in math? And she says, all the best to you.
Well, yeah, mathematics is a challenge, for many. So it's making it fun, activities for students, kind of, making it, applicable to their everyday. You know, my son is loves Legos and loves to build, you know, so he likes to, you know, to draw. And I think geometry works well for him because he's able to make connections with him building Legos into, you know, the different shapes in the geometry. And he does it like it's nothing. So making it fun and finding resources online. There are plenty of resources online. Khan's Academy, you know, you have your YouTube. You know, I always refer my students, you know, we use YouTube a lot. You know, we find short videos that that explain problems in a different way, you know. So I'll do one way and I might show a YouTube video and then break that down for them so that they understand it. So being resourceful, encouraging them and finding things that they like, because again, math is a challenging subject for many people.
Thank you. So I can see another questions here, and we do have time for it. Dr. Winsell. So his question is, how do you explain the importance of math to students not interested or not proficient in math?
This is so basically students come in and some of them will say, I don't like math. You know, I'm not good at math. You know, I wasn't good at math in high school. And so those are the comments that I would hear. You know, of course, you know, that saddens me because, you know, I want you to do well. And so my thing is, you know, is knowing, okay, what are your expectations from me? You know, I want you to you know, you come in one way, but I want you to leave another way. You know, I want you to have some type of joy, some type of relationship with mathematics, you know, because it is applicable to your everyday life. You may not use, you know you're using some of it, you know, but you may be doing it indirectly, you know. So what I want you to do is to take off the I can't hat. Take it off, okay? And believe that you can, because once you have that positive attitude, you know, when I am giving you a concept, you know, and we are saying, okay, well, this is where you can use this, you know, then it becomes different. You have a different mindset, you know, and once you have a different mindset, you know, things become easier, you know. And then what I encourage them to do is do some research, you know, how is this applicable to your personal life and also your major, okay? Why do you need this? You know, why do you need algebra? You know, um, so, and they do that. And so they come in, some of them come in with a negative attitude, but then they say, well, I did better in this class, you know, than I did in high school, you know, and that really makes me feel good, you know. And so I find it a challenge, even when I have students, you know, and I know you have a problem. So I'll kind of pull them, this is before the virtual, you know, pandemic, you know, I'll pull them to the side, you know, and say, because I can see that the grades are reflected upon the attitude. So I'll pull them to the side, you know, and I'll say, you know, is everything okay? You know, and not only do I do that, I have to give them a hug, you know, because there is some energy, you know, and that's what I miss. I'm a hugger. So I'm a touching, I'm a hugger, you know, and it just makes so much of a difference. And I just remember, you know, one young lady, and I gave her a hug. And I think, you know, that hug, you know, when she came in after that, the classes, her face just looked different. You know, she had, you know, she did the work. You know, I just saw a difference, you know. So attitudes, our spiritual, you know, um, they really, you know, help our students, you know. And my students help me. I'm energized by my students. So I really miss the classroom feeling, but again, I still enjoy the virtual, you know, settings that we're still able to teach, and students are still able to learn. So
I think we have time for two more questions and then we're going to wrap up. because we're going to get everyone out as we promised within that time frame. But Sabrina says, what is your overall goal in teaching at VUU? When you retire, when someone mentions your name, what do you want to be said? What kind of impact, impression do you want to leave on the students and faculty? And then I have one more question.
Okay, Sabrina, that's my sister from church. So yeah, so the goal, my goal is to to help students to see the joy of learning mathematics, and to have fun with it. I want students to be able to be problem solvers, to think, to apply critical thinking skills, and to not only do that, but to help others, you know. So once you learn something, I want you to be able to teach someone else, so I'm teaching you so you can teach somebody else. So it's like pass along the knowledge. When I retire, or when I'm finished teaching, or what I want students to know is that Professor Ragland cared about her students. And so hopefully they'll know that Professor Ragland cares, about your education, cares about your success. And I don't like to be in the spotlight, and I want to see them, down the road, saying, oh, Professor Ragland made a difference in my life, because I have, Sabrina is one who makes a difference in my life as well. She is an angel. She's a mentor as well. And so I want people to see that I made a difference, in their life.
So we're going to have a hard stop coming up very shortly. Of course, Dr. Carl Jackson could not leave this faculty spotlight without posing his question. I need a very quick response to his. Can you share with us a memorable experience you can recall learning from a former student you have helped or inspired? And I do want to say that Dr. Ritter has joined us. He has a wonderful compliment for you. He said, outstanding teacher you are, administrator, but even better person, a true blessing and inspiration. So that I wanted to go ahead and give that shout out to your dean, who is here listening to every word that you're saying. So I need you to give us a real quick response to Carl Jackson, because I need to go ahead and wrap up before Zoom zooms us right out.
Okay, so I can address that. Like I said, I'm a co-learner. Okay, so with my students, and I can remember, one class, it was an algebra class, and we were dealing with ways of factoring polynomials, and one of my students, had a different method of how to do this, and it's, I call it the slide and divide, technique, so pretty much, she shared this technique, and I was like, oh, that's a great way. Students will pick up on that, and so I shared that with my class, which made a big difference, and especially dealing with trinomials too, we call it that. And so the slide and divide is almost like a step, I would do a slide and divide, but it was wonderful. So I was able to pick that up from a student to share it with other people. And I still use it, if I teach, the algebra, I'm still using that technique. I said, well, a student told me this, and this, she learned that from, one of her teachers. So it is so great to learn, to learn from students, learn from everybody. Everybody makes a difference.
They absolutely do. And it's been a treat for us to just have spent some time with you this morning. Thank you again, Doctor in Training, Sharonda Ragland. And we do still have that co-learners question for you, but it's going to be the next time. And I do want to say that Dr. Ms. Shepard, who is our Assistant Dean of the Graduate Program, is a great inspiration today. Also, such a blessing to so many in and outside of VUU. Love you. That's Tanya Harris. I thank you all this morning for joining us. Hasn't it been great to learn more about our faculty? Well, join us next week. We have another great faculty spotlight, in front of us, and that would be Dr. Alfonso Sealy. He'll be here with us. What a treat. Again, thank you all. Have a wonderful, pleasant, amazing weekend. Thank you. Bye now. Thank you, Professor, Doctor in Training. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. McShepard, for all you do as well.